So welcome everyone to our final session of the 2022 County Championships. It's a bit of a contrast to yesterday's very short splash and dash. We've got the 400s, so we'll be starting with the men's 400 IM, women's 400 free, then after a very short break we'll have the women's 400 IM and the men's 400 free. We'll see how many are doing both, but we'll start with event 701. It's the men's 400 metres individual medley, heat 1. Referee. So we have 3 heats of the men's 400 metres individual medley. 4 swimmers in this first heat. So in lane 3 we've got Daniel Hollis from Costa. Lane 4 Max Lesner from Potters Bar. Lane 5 Alexander Ball from Potters Bar. And lane 6 is Harry Chapman from Stevenage. So as throughout the championships, this first heat has got some swimmers who qualified from previous years' times, and one of those swimmers is Daniel in lane 3. So we'd expect his swim time to be a little bit ahead of some of the other swimmers in this first heat. I'd give some points of how to swim a 400 IM, but without ever having done one in my life, I'll hesitate from being too prescriptive. Daniel's 107.55 for his fly. Does that classify as easy speed? We will find out. Harry in lane 6, about 10 metres behind. I think it's fair to say backstroke isn't Daniel's #1 stroke. He'll be trying hard not to use his legs too much on this backstroke. So Max in lane 4 is one of our youngest entrants, 13 this year. It's a tough event, this one. 2:25.9 for Daniel at the halfway point. Bit more natural territory for him, the breaststroke. So I guess he'll be looking for a time around that 5-minute mark. So I think we'll be expecting just under the 5 minutes for Daniel. Might eat my words in a minute's time. The others all swim in their individual races too. Let's see what Daniel has. What's he got left? Length and a half to go. Oh, it's going to be close. Well, I did say just under 5, and indeed it was. 4:59.77 for Daniel Hollis over in lane 3. All the swimmers now on the freestyle. Young Max in 4, really going well at the end of a long 400 IM. 2 to go for him. Harry stopping the clock in 5:50.72. Alexander 5:59.08. So Max really having that sprint finish still. Looks 6:25 for Max. Well done. Well done, boys. Heat 2, referee. So we've got 7 swimmers in Heat 2. In lane 1, Daniel Williams from Hatfield. Lane 2, William Lockwood, also from Hatfield. No swimmer in 3. James Atwell from Harpenden in 4. Rafferty May from Watford in 5. In 6, we've got Benjamin Taggart, also from Watford. Lane 7, Oliver Fennick from Verulam. And lane 8, Fraser McDonald from Hatfield. So this, as you can see, it's spearhead formation, and indeed James in lane 4 taking out the fly. A 109 for James. I think that's slightly behind the previous heat's fly split. Daniel in 1 going well, but actually in 2nd at the moment it's Rafferty May in lane 5. Three swimmers swimming as 13. In lane 2 we've got William. Lane 7 and 8 we've got Oliver and Fraser. 13 this year. It's a tough event for these young ones. So James in 4, having a good backstroke leg there, but also not let him get further away was Rafferty in 5. See how their breaststrokes compare. And Benjamin in 6, pulling away from the others. So that's a clear difference between the front 3. So Ben does seem to be making headway into that gap behind Rafferty. Let's see if he catches him up on this second 50 of the breaststroke. James out to what, 6 meters. Does look like Ben will overhaul Rafferty on this final leg of breaststroke, the 2 Watford teammates. So they've both narrowed that gap down to under 5 meters, just 3 meters I'd say behind James, but he's out on the freestyle, stretches the lead out by a meter again. So it's going to end up a bit closer than it looked like it would be earlier on in the race. But James is going to hang on. Rafferty's held off Ben's challenge so far. Looks like he probably will. So that looks like our 3 top 3 finishers. That's a 5:16.60. For James, 5:18.56 for Rafferty, 5:21.39 for Ben. Daniel in lane 1, having a sprint there to finish in 5:33. It's well inside his entry time. Oliver touching out William at the end. 5:43 for Oliver, 5:45 William. And then young Fraser. 6:03, inside his entry time by 5 seconds as well. Well done, boys. Clear the pool, please, boys. Just the one heat left. It's our fastest heat, and in lieu of finals, we'll be calling out the swimmers before the race once this heat have cleared the pool. So in heat 3, the final heat of the men's 400 IM, in lane 8, Samuel Jeffrey from Hatfield. In lane 1, William Buckley from Watford. Lane 7, George Prince from Hatfield. Lane 2, Lucas Hartley from Hatfield. In lane 6, Jason Ho from Hatfield. And in lane 5, Ethan Howard from Potters Bar. Your race, referee. So I've introduced the swimmers. Unfortunately, a gap in the middle of the pool. Ethan in 5, our fastest qualifier. He's got a 4:53 on paper. Jason, our next fastest entry time, 5 minutes. But the early pace is William over in lane 1, just ahead of the others. Easy to get carried away a bit on this fly. It's a long race and you don't want to work this 100 fly too hard. Now remember, we had a 4:59 set by Daniel in the first heat. But apart from that, it's probably the winner of this heat who will become county champion. Ethan, a body's length away in front of Jason. And then over in 1, it's William and Lucas in lane 2 next to him, just trying to stay in touch. Some deceptive backstroke going on. It can look on these longer paced backstroke swims to be a relaxing swim, but I can assure you it is not. So that's a 2:23 for Ethan at halfway. 2.5 ahead of Jason. Breaststroke often the differentiator on the IM. Ethan pulling away in the first 50 of the breaststroke. Lucas just trying to edge ahead of William, but George trying to edge ahead of Lucas. Indeed, that's what's happened. They're turning together, really. So Ethan now 5 metres ahead of Jason. George coming up on Jason's feet. Lucas just behind him. Very good breaststroke there from George. As Ethan's off on his freestyle, I don't see anyone catching him, although Jason has a handy distance freestyle. That looks like it will be at top 3. Doesn't look like the positions will be changing in the top 5, really. And do remember Daniel's time from the first heat. That is going to be quite close. Well, I think Ethan might just creep inside that. He does 4:55.71. Ethan becomes our county champion for 2022. Jason 4:57.83. And I think Daniel's time from heat 1 would fit in there. George 5:02.39, third in this heat. So that was it for event 701, 400 IM for the boys. Now on to 702, it's the women's 400 metres freestyle. Heat 1, referee. We've got 5 heats of the women's 400 free. And in this first heat in lane 1, we've got Olivia Croft from Cheshunt. Lane 2, Cassandra Pereira from Hatfield. Lane 3, Matilda Tramontano-Wells from Hertford. Lane 4, Kaylin Hahir from Watford. Lane 5, Sophie Stelmack from Stevenage. No swimmer in 6. In 7, we've got Daisy Jubb from Costa. And lane 8, Jasmine Pereira from Hatfield. So in 5, our early leader, Sophie. A 1:10 for the first 100. Her entry time, a 5:15. So unless she's misjudged this awfully, she's looking like a decent improvement on her entry time. Would expect maybe a 1:15 for the second split, so we'll be looking for that 2:25 for Sophie in 5. In 3 and 4, Matilda and Kaylin using each other to pace this early part of the race. Jasmine, I don't know if she'll be able to see quite where the others are from over here in lane 8. She's just behind the feet of the front 3. So Sophie did slip out a bit there, 2:31. So that's from a 1:10 to a 1:20. And the others do look as if they are hauling her back in. Particularly Matilda in 3. Olivia in 1 is our youngest entrant in this event, swimming as, well, 11 this year. Her entry time just under the 6 minutes. Well, this race shaping up to be closer than it looked like it would be in the first 100. Sophie's still in the lead, but barely. Jasmine not just content with beating her sister. She's trying to catch those front 3. Sophie, I think, is not getting the distance off the wall she was in the first few turns. Jasmine here in 8. Or, yeah, Sophie still held on there. 5:12, 1-2. Jasmine in second, 5:12.97. And Kaylin in fourth, finishing third, just ahead of Matilda. Some good improvements on entry times there, well done. Heat 2, referee. Good to see 8 swimmers in this heat. I think we're getting a little bit of feedback in the pool. In this heat, in lane 1, we've got Hannah Lovelock from Hitchin. In lane 2, Eva Glynn from Hatfield. In lane 3, Florence Crowley from Costa. Lane 4, Olivia Lydon from Royston. 5, Catherine Ryan from Hoddesdon. 6, Tamsin Moran from Berkhamsted. 7, Sophie Hollis from Costa. And 8, Angelica Lauzaskaita from Watford. So a much closer opening 100 in this second heat. Second heat of 5. Entry times here ranging from 5:03 to 5:13. So yeah, quite close. Let's see if any of these ladies can dip under that 5 minutes. Possibly for the first time, I assume, from the entry times. Does look like Eva is just half a body length, quarter of a body length ahead of Olivia in 4. So Eva in 2, Olivia in 4, but Florence in 3. Between those, it's going to be very close. So let's see what their halfway splits will be. It's not looking likely that they will be hitting under 5 minutes, but could be close. Let's see. Eva turn at halfway, 2:27.80. A couple of seconds ahead of the others now, so she made a little move on that previous 50. I suppose some of these girls may have a race plan where they are going to kick on at halfway. This third 100 been mentally quite tough. At least it always was for me. If it's Eva's pacing that's pulling her ahead, or the others have dropped back, but it looks like Eva is 4 meters ahead now. Florence just ahead of the rest. Great to see different stroke length, stroke rate in these swimmers. Some going for a longer, slower stroke, and some really looking like it'd be more of a 200 stroke. Also looking across, some of those swimmers seeming to be saving their legs. Not Eva, I think, in 2. So a 4:22, I think that's going to leave her slightly outside unless she's really left something for this last 50. I think she's just going to be outside the 5 minutes. Eva had a 5:10, so it would be a massive jump for her to get under 5 minutes. I think I may have called this one. I did call it one. She beat me. 4:59.09 for Eva. Second, Florence, just outside on the 5 minutes 37. And Tamsin finishing third, 5:01. Heat 3, referee. So 7 swimmers in this middle heat. In lane 1, we've got Autumn Shine from Potters Bar. 2, Ellie Eva from Hitchin. 3, Erin Younger from Costa. 4, Thea Patel from Hatfield. 5, Olivia Matfield from Hitchin. 6, Bella Parkers from Bishop Stortford. We've got no swimmer in 7, and in 8 we've got Grace Corley from Watford. It's Erin in 3, the Costa swimmer, with half the body length at the 50. Let's see if that is a consistent lead or just early excitement. So Thea in 4 has the fastest entry time of this heat, the 4:56. And about half of these ladies have an entry time under 5 minutes. Are we looking to make improvements? So we can see an indication of how hard they are working is some of them succumbing to the temptation to breathe before their first stroke. Might be annoying their coaches a little. Yes. A big breath there before the first stroke from our leader in 3. So Thea in 4. Looking to try and catch Erin. Mentally very hard when you see a swimmer come past you on these middle distance races. So Thea having a very long stroke for her height. She's overtaking Erin, but in 5 and 6, that's Olivia and Bella. They haven't given up. Well, I was talking about breathing out of the turn. I did notice Olivia in 5 having a breathe into the turn. Not the most efficient, but shows how these swimmers' lungs are bursting. Erin not given up yet, but Erin a body length ahead. Thea a body length ahead of Erin, I should say. Those turns looking tireder. So 50 to go for Thea. Erin over in second. Thea looking to pace this quite evenly, I think. Definitely going to her legs. They're all kicking hard on this final 20 metres. Thea's hat coming off, but she still touches 4:56.80 for Thea. Bella actually touching in second, just ahead of Erin. In that heat, Thea and Bella under the 5 minutes. Heat 4, referee. Eight swimmers in this penultimate heat. In lane 1, Emily Presslin from Bushy. Lane 2, Elizabeth Standen from Costa. In 3, we've got Keely White from Potters Bar. 4, Neve O'Meara from Watford. 5, Evie Thompson from Hitchin. Also from Hitchin in 6, Sophie Clark. In 7, Eva Ives from Hatfield. and in lane 8, Imola Jota from Hatfield. So Neve in 4, out fastest. I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to call it. It's a bit early, I think, after the first 50, but she's certainly dominating in this first 100. (106.8) for Neve. Neve, one of our 16-year-olds in this heat. Range of ages, we've got 4 16-year-olds, a 17-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 20-year-old, but in lane 7, Eva is 13 this year. So remember, these ladies looking not just for the championship position, but for their age group positions as well. It's all in a line at the back, but still Neve coming up to halfway. She has a good 4 or 5 metre lead over the ladies either side of her. Keeley in 3, Evie in 5. So Evie ahead of Sophie in a hitchin head-to-head. Eva and Imola neck and neck at this stage. It would be astounding for anyone other than Neve to finish this race in first position. She's not looking quite as fluid as she was in the early lanes. Neve does have an entry time just 1/100 under 4:50. And I think she will be good for that. You all know I've been wrong already this morning. Eva in 7. Making her move. She's dropped teammate Imola. And her Eva is just ahead of Evie in 5. (4:45.90), a good improvement there on her entry time for Neve. Eva indeed just finishing ahead of Evie. Good swimming. Just the fastest seeded heat left of this Women's Open 400 freestyle. We'll be introducing the competitors once the pool area is cleared. These swimmers will be pleased to get a small break between this and the women's 400 IM. So we come on to the final heat of this 400 freestyle. In lane 8, we've got Kirsty Neal from Bishop Stortford. In lane 1, from Hatfield, Camille Vanier. In 7, Antonia Jubb from Hatfield. In 2, Emma Craig from Harpenden. In 6, Isabel Murta from Hatfield. In 3, Jess Woodward from Hatfield. In 5, Gabriela Gomez Pavon from Potters Bar. And in 4, our fastest qualifier, Amy Pemberton from Berkhamsted. Your race, referee. So, on paper, Amy in 4 with a good advantage, 10-second advantage over the other swimmers. But it's been a funny season, so there might be some slightly odd entry times. We will see. Here's Jess in 3, just ahead of Amy. Gabriella in 5. So ages 15 to 21 in the pool in this fastest heat. I say fastest, we don't know that yet, do we? In this final heat. Not much of an advantage for Jess over Amy at 150. So there's those first 3 still in touch with each other. Then the 2 this side of the pool, 7 and 8, and then the 2, 1 and 2, the other side. Kirsty in 8, just edging ahead of Antonia in 7. But still Jess with that arm's length advantage over Amy. Jess with a faster turnover. Let's see if these more experienced swimmers can hold together the technique on the turns. Don't see them breathing into the turn. We see, or I think, did Jess breathe before the first arm stroke? I think she did. So on that evidence, Jess is having to work a little harder, and Amy just put in over half a second now. 100 to go. Gabriella in 5 looks to be settling for 3rd, but maybe she hasn't seen Kirsty in 8. Bit more urgency in Amy's stroke into that penultimate turn. Injection of pace from Jess, but I think she may have missed it, but we've seen her catch up that in a relay sprint, but can she do that at the end of a 400? It is going to be a close finish, but I think Jess may have left that too late. We'll see. Very, very close. Amy just ahead, nose ahead. Amy touching first, 4:35.14 for Amy. Jess in second, 4:35.32. Gabriella keeping that 3rd place, 4:40 for her. Just ahead of Kirsty. Well done, ladies. So maybe preying on the minds of the swimmers in that last heat, the fact that in 2 or 3 heats' time they may well be swimming a 400 IM rather than me. So we're going to have a short break before resuming with event 703, which will be the women's 400 metres individual medley. Girls, that is our short break. Our next event, event 703, is the women's 400 metres individual medley. We've got 3 heats. So we do need some swimmers behind the blocks for heat 1. When you're ready. Heat 1, referee. As we get this second half of the session underway with heat 1 of this 400 medley. As I said, we've got 3 heats in heat 1. In lane 2, we've got Ava Black from Costa. Lane 3, Hannah Lovelock from Hitchin. In 4, we've got Madeline Bayliss from Stevenage. 5, Kira May Ingram from Howard Hempstead. 6, Autumn Shine from Potters Bar. And 7, Amelia Costa from Hatfield. So Amelia in 7 is swimming as a 12-year-old. She's our youngest entrant in this event. Well done her for getting to the start line. At the front of this race in 5 and 6, using each other at the moment. It's Kira May and Autumn. So 1:17 for Autumn, 18 for Kira May. Kira May's backstroke looking a little flatter than Autumn's, but no real difference in speed. At least from what we can see of it, Autumn looks to be kicking a little harder. See how that affects them later in the race. Kira May just pulling away slightly at the end of this backstroke leg. Still very nice flat stationary head for her. She turns onto the breaststroke. That looked like a desperate breath for air for Kira May onto her breaststroke, but let's see how the breaststroke leg affects this race. Hannah in 3, Madeleine in 4, not given up the chase just yet. So Hannah having a very good breaststroke. She's overtaken Autumn. Let's see what she can do on the next 50 of breaststroke. Fair to say Kira May's breaststroke not as comfortable as her backstroke. So Hannah nearly catching that whole difference on this 100 of breaststroke as they come on to the final 100. 4/10 in it. But still, Kira May by a fraction. Kira May still at that turn. Amelia now onto her front crawl. That's all of the ladies onto their front crawl leg. Looks like Hannah will have the endurance to keep Kira May just behind her. Well, I may have spoken too early. Hannah is going to touch her head. 5:50.82 for Hannah, 5:51.76 for Kira May. And in third, Ava Black, just ahead of Autumn. All of those girls under 6 minutes. Let's give Amelia a bit of encouragement as she comes in. Great effort to be even competing in a 400 IM at that age. Well done, Amelia. Heat 2, referee. Eight swimmers in this second heat, this middle heat. In lane 1, Angelica Lazaskaita from Watford. Lane 2, Kate Hopper from Berkhamsted. 3, Olivia Riley from Hatfield. 4, Amy Harper from Watford. 5, Eva Glynn from Hatfield. 6, Bella Parkus from Bishop Stortford. Lane 7, also from Bishop Stortford, Ella Greatbatch. And lane 8, Maya Ghosh from Verulam. Pretty close at the front. The two Hatfield swimmers, Olivia and Eva. And in lane 6, Bella from Bishop Stortford. It's Eva, though, at the end of this 100 fly. Some good consistent pacing on that fly for Eva. Will the fact that some of these girls have swum a 400 freestyle already this morning have an effect? You'd think so, maybe more in the later stages. Some decent backstrokes there. Eva pulling away further. Olivia holding on. And Bella still in touch with Olivia. And fourth at the moment is Amy from lane 4. They're not really going to push the underwater phase of this backstroke in this race. I think they'll be needing the oxygen. Ditching the underwater pull down for Eva. Let's see if the breaststroke makes a difference here. And still Eva from Olivia. From Amy. Amy in between the two Hatfield girls. Eva's lead cut down considerably by this breaststroke. Again, no pull down for Eva. Amy now past the two Hatfield girls. That lack of a pull down not directly affecting the distance, but maybe that speed into the breakout. As Amy uses that final few metres of breaststroke to give herself a bit of an advantage onto the faster freestyle leg. These girls now really struggling to get to the flags on the underwater there.
Thank you.
Looking deceptively easy now for Amy and 4. More efficient back half of this 400 IM for her. Remember, these girls trying to put times down to challenge for the top spots in their age groups, in the junior championships and the championship. Amy and Eva both been 15 this year. In lane 6, Bella not giving up, but in lane 4, finishing first, 5:32.6 for Amy. Eva finishing 5:40, second. Bella coming through to finish third, just ahead of Olivia. Well done, ladies. That's your count is done. Clear the ball if you can. Just our final heat to go of this women's 400 metres individual medley. Which I'll introduce once the previous heat has cleared the ball area. So this final heat of the women's 400 metres individual medley. In lane 8, Tamsin Morin from Berkhamsted. In 1, Eva Ives from Hatfield. In 7, Florence Crowley from Costa. In 2, Caitlin Hartley from Hatfield. In 6, Lucinda Stanley from Harpenden. In 3, Charlotte Williams from Hatfield. In 5, Kirsty Neal from Bishop Stortford. And in 4, also from Bishop Stortford, Neve James. Your race, referee. So we've got a little Hatfield Club Championship in the far 3 lanes. I know who my money's on. Charlotte having a very good county championship. And Charlotte being the early leader. Neve in 4, second. She's one of the swimmers who've doubled up this morning. Charlotte resting, I think, from the 400 free. In lane 1, Eva is 13 this year, so she's by some margin the youngest in this final heat. She's having a good swim over in lane 1. Charlotte from Neve though. Neve with a very good backstroke turn and underwater there. She has caught Charlotte in 3. Caitlin Hartley in 2, following her normal strategy of lulling the other swimmers into a false sense of security before the breaststroke leg. At least that's what I think it must be. Neve with nearly a body length ahead of Charlotte going into this breaststroke, but Charlotte looking a slightly more positive of the two on the breaststroke. So let's keep an eye on Caitlin, who's in 8th onto the breaststroke. So Neve showed no signs really that 400 free was anything other than a warm-up for her. Still looking pretty comfortable there. She's building into this breaststroke. Kirsty in 5, Neve's teammate from Bishop Stortford, solidly in 3rd. And these gaps now look like the first 3 in this heat are fairly fixed, but Kirsty coming up fast. Well, I think I may have predicted Caitlin Hartley having a slightly better breaststroke than backstroke, as she moves into 4th. But Eva there is a very decent freestyler. But not much to commentate about at the front of this race. Neve gasping for air, but she has such an advantage. There's no doubt that she will be touching first. Charlotte looking fairly secure for 2nd. Fairly secure, there's no chance. Kirsty working hard, but again, a definite 3rd place in this heat. Eva pulled ahead considerably from Caitlin. But our county champion, I think, looking at the times, we'll have to check that with the other heat. Neve James finishing first, 5:09.65. Charlotte 2nd, 5:15.63. And Kirsty in 3rd, 5:20.05. Well done, ladies. Oh, very close there for fourth. Well done, ladies. That is all the women's swimming complete for this county championships. Please clear the pool. Once you've cleared the pool, we can move on to our final event of the championships. That will be event 704. It's the men's 400 freestyle. We've got 6 heats. Heat 1, referee. So just the 16 lengths of freestyle left for these fellas. We've got 3 swimmers in this first heat. In lane 3, it's Gabrielle Taggart from Watford. Lane 4, Parker Brewster from Harpenden. And lane 5, Elliot Hall from Bishop Stortford. Maybe someone from Watford can tell me if it's Gabriel or Gabrielle. Gabriel, thank you. It's too long a race for me to get his name wrong the whole way. It's Parker in 4, ahead at this stage. So we've got about 19 second difference in the entry time, so it could well be spread out. And some of these races, the swimmers don't get to swim quite as frequently, so we can, with these younger boys especially, we can see some quite big changes, improvements. Is at the end of a long championships though. Elliot in 5, trying to stay in contact with Parker. He's lost touch with his feet though. Elliot sporting the 2022 edition of the county hat, the championships hat, if I'm not mistaken. What are we thinking? Is it a brown or a red? I'm not sure. Maybe a burgundy. Is that a burgundy? At the halfway, nearly 4 seconds from Parker, the Harpenden swimmer, ahead of Elliot from Bishop Stortford. Gabriel in 3, having to pace his own race. Sometimes this part of the race is the hard bit, trying to keep that pressure up. So Elliot not breathing quite on his first stroke. Parker so desperate for air He was a little too eager, broke his streamline. Let's have a look again. Yeah, and again. Something to work on for these young swimmers. Parker swimming as 13 this year. Elliot 12. Gabriel swimming as 12 as well. Another difference from these front two. I see Parker's still bilaterally breathing every 3. Elliot every 2. Maybe that's helping him as we turn. So our leader does look like he was aware Elliot was catching him. Saving something for that sprint finish for a 5:31.64 for Parker. Elliot second in a 5:34.15. Both of them inside their entry times. Gabriel in third. Heat 2, referee. Six swimmers in Heat 2. In lane 2, we've got Alexander Mordenti from Potters Bar. Lane 3, Zach Fellows from Costa. Lane 4, Oliver Fennick from Verulam. 5, we've got Niccolo Camilotti from Hatfield. Lane 6, his teammate, Fraser McDonald. Lane 7, Max Lesnar from Potters Bar. So Zach and Oliver. Oliver sporting a Adam Peaty Race Clinics hat, if I'm not mistaken. But he is a Verulam swimmer. So Oliver just slightly ahead of Zach. Costa swimmer in 3. Alexander over there in 2. Over in 3rd. And then the two Hatfield swimmers in 5 and 6. Niccolo just ahead of Fraser. Niccolo, another of our swimmers, swimming as 12 this year. Over 2 seconds now. Oliver from Zach. Maybe Oliver learned something useful on the Adam Peaty Clinic. Do you think that's a signed hat? I'm not sure I'd be wearing it if it was signed by Adam Peaty, I don't know. 2:28 for Oliver's halfway split. 2:31 for Zach. Oliver with a 5:16 entry time. Out to Max in lane 7. He's got a 5:31 entry time. So the two Hatfield swimmers settling down to a head-to-head. Still Nicolo just ahead of teammate Fraser. Oliver really no one to push him at this stage. Zach is about 5 meters behind. I think Oliver's going to have a handy improvement on that entry time. Remember I said a 5:16 entry time for Oliver. So more of a catch-up straight Oliver than Zach. See if that changes on this final 50. He's gone to his legs now on that 25 meters to go, 15 meters to go for Oliver. So well inside his 5:16 entry time. Very good value there for a 5:04.49 for Oliver to finish in first. In second it's going to be Zach. 5:11 for Zach. 15-second improvement for Zach. And finishing third it was Alexander. 5:18. Nicolo still finishing just ahead, 3/100ths ahead of his teammate Fraser. And Max finishing there in a handy 5:33. Heat 3, referee. So we have 7 swimmers in Heat 3. This is Heat 3 of 6. In lane 1, we've got Ethan David Tostavin from Bishop Stortford. In lane 3, we've got Benjamin Taggart from Watford. Lane 4, we've got Oliver Tom from Ware. Lane 5, Matthew Enover from Hatfield. Lane 6 is Brandon MacDonald Williams from Bishop Stortford. Lane 7, Dylan Davenport from Bishop Stortford. And lane 8, the youngest competitor in this competition, Perrin Marr from Hatfield, swimming as 11. So Ethan in 1 with somewhat of a disadvantage, I'd say, in that he will find it difficult to see the swimmers closest to his entry time over the far side of the pool, and no one in the lane next to him. But at the 100, it's Matthew in lane 5 with a 1:09.23, half a second ahead of Benjamin. So at least I know I can see that, and I recall Benjamin was swimming the 400 medley just a short while ago. Gap from Matthew to Benjamin has gone out to just over a second. Challenging for third is Brandon in 6. That's 2:24.3 for Matthew, 2:26.0 for Benjamin. Benjamin just maintaining that half a second lead over Brandon, the other side of the centre. Matthew breathing every 2, breathing to his left, he can see Benjamin. So a little wider gap now. Benjamin in 3, pulling clear of Brandon. In lane 6, in 3rd place at the moment. Matthew still a bit of clear water just between him and Benjamin. These swimmers generally they look to be down to about 2 or 3 dolphin kicks on that underwater off the turn. That's sufficient to get their feet past the flags, just. Brandon not quite getting that far. So with 50 to go, it's Matthew on a 4:15, Benjamin on a 4:19. Brandon 4:21, 50 to go. That will be the finishing order, I am sure. Matthew got a bit too much left there. That's the question I'd be asking him in the post-swim debrief. Matthew finishing first, 4:51.13, inside his entry time. Benjamin second, 4:54.69. Brandon in third, 4:56. So some good individual swims there for heat 3.
Heat 4, referee. So some of these swimmers in Heat 4, we recognise the names. Fresh from the 400 IM. Not sure that's the right word. In lane 1, Oliver Baskerville from Hatfield. Lane 2, George Grimwood from Bishop Stortford. Lane 3, George Hooper from Costa. Lane 4, George Prince from Hatfield. In lane 6, Samuel Jeffrey from Hatfield. Lane 7, Jacob Hayes from Bishop Stortford. And lane 8, Danny Foreman from Potters Bar. So remember these 400s, it's heat declared winners, so all the best times from whichever heat, deciding the places in the age groups in the junior championships and the championship. This is the fourth of 6 heats, so we wouldn't really expect a championship winner to come from these, but who knows? It's George in lane 2 with a 104. That's a very positive start for him. 104.68. A couple of body lengths ahead of the rest of the field. So it's George, George and George in the top 3 places.
There's still George Grimwood in 2, from George Hooper in 3, and George Prince in lane 4. They're the top 3 places at this stage. That's made a comeback as a name, hasn't it? .216.0 at halfway for George Grimwood, the Bishop Stortford swimmer. He'd look good value for his 4:48 entry time. George Prince, the fastest entry time, 4:40. We know George is a very even splitting swimmer, but he has swum a 400 IM. George Hooper in 3, the Costa swimmer, looked like he had a race plan of 2 halves. George Hooper now firmly ahead of George Grimwood, lane 3 ahead of lane 2. George Prince in lane 4, tracking them, but behind in 3rd. .75 to go for the leaders. And George Hooper's race plan appears to be working. I was worried then he thought he was on his sprint finish, but he does know. It looks like George Hooper is fine. He's tying up slightly, but he has such an advantage over George Prince, who's come through to 2nd. Still George Grimwood in 3rd, but in lane 7, we've got Jacob. But finishing first is George Hooper with a 4:35.49. Second, George Prince, 4:37.35. And George Grimwood, our early leader, 4:39.23 for 3rd. Well done, swimmers. Heat 5, referee. So this penultimate heat, 8 swimmers in lane 1, Dylan Morris from Watford. Lane 2, Nathaniel Mapley from Costa. 3, we've got Daniel Belzy from Hatfield. Lane 4, Alexander Calverburr from Costa. Lane 5, Kai Adams from Potters Bar. Lane 6, we've got Lucas Hartley from Hatfield. 7, we've got George Lovelock from Hitchin. And lane 8, Josh Ellis from Hatfield. Nathaniel Mapley in 2. Decisively ahead. About 4 metres ahead, or maybe 3 metres ahead. Then 2 or 3 swimmers in a line. Lucas in 6. Lucas not renowned for his pacing on the middle distance events. Often have a little rest in the middle. Who can blame him? But still Nathaniel. We know Nathaniel has a turn of speed, but his stroke looking comfortably efficient at this pace for a 400. So the entry times in this one. George, one of the younger swimmers, 14 this year, with a 4:40 entry time. Sorry, wrong heat. 4:31 entry time for Alexander in 4. But we saw quite big improvements in heat 4 from entry times to their swim time. Nathaniel looks like he will be doing just that. His entry time about the same as the winning time from the previous heat, but he is well ahead of this field. So it's still Nathaniel in lane 2, Alexander in lane 4, Kai just ahead of Lucas. Lucas just staying ahead of teammate Daniel over in lane 3. I'm not sure. There looked to be a little problem there for Nathaniel. Did he have goggles at the start of the race? He doesn't now. And he's going to find it hard to spot those turns and finish. A great job keeping going. .50 to go for Nathaniel. That is going to affect his time, I'm sure. Still Alex Calbert from lane 4 in second. Kai opening up the gap from Lucas, so that's 3rd and 4th. So Nathaniel still swimming firmly. Well, that was a 4:24.68 for Nathaniel. Alexander second in a 4:29.52. Kai closing in on him, 4:30.90. Just pulling away from Lucas at the end there. So if that heat, once that heat has cleared the pool area, we will come on to the final race of this year's championships. So it'll be the fastest heat of this 400 freestyle for men. Some of the swimmers just hamming it up a bit now, to be fair. I think it's just after more food. So this final heat, the fastest seeded heat of the 400 freestyle. In lane 8, we've got Andrew Tembera from Costa. In lane 1, Ethan Ivelaw Chapman from Costa. In 7, it's Ethan Howard from Potters Bar. In 2, Noah Cornwell from Potters Bar. In 6, it's Jason Ho from Hatfield. In 3, it's Jack Barnard from Potters Bar. In 5, it's Jamie Joshua from Hatfield. And in lane 4, the fastest qualifier is Jago Derrington from Bishop Stortford. Your race, referee. So no Jamie Joshua in 5, but the remaining 7 swimmers will be looking to win the final championship title of this 2022 Hertfordshire County Championships. An early outside smoker in lane 8, it's Andrew Tembera. But 6 of these swimmers on a 29. Jago, is he pacing himself? Just on 30 point. Jago is the fastest qualifier. That's with a 4:19. Andrew is half a second now. He's extended that very slight advantage he had at 50. He's ahead of ex-teammate Jason. So they know each other swimming very well. Both of them have entered and swum quite a few of the events in the last few weekends. All in a line there for battling it for 3rd at the moment. It's like some endurance skins event today. Some of them having swum twice. There's an idea for an event, 400 skins. Who fancies that? Jason just coming through past Andrew. Fair to say Jason's probably more of a distance swimmer than Andrew, but Andrew's still very good across all these distances. Jago starting to show himself in the centre of the pool. Jago probably another of these with a race plan where he's building. Jason probably more metronomic in his swimming. But Jago hauling him back in with every stroke. With 100 to go. Jason still nominally ahead. Nominally ahead, he is ahead. But that has all changed. Jago now fractionally ahead of Jason. It's going to be hard to overturn that momentum. Jason, without his teammate Jamie next to him to help push him along, it is going to be Jago finishing first, I'm sure. Andrew, our early outside smoker, isn't going to be able to hold on for third. It's Jack, the Potters Bar swimmer in 3, will pick up third, but finishing first comfortably in the end, Jago Derrington with a 4:19.80. Jason second in a 4:22.54. Jack indeed coming through for third, 4:25.15. Well done, gents. Well done, those swimmers. Well, believe it or not, that is the end of this year's county championships. Thank you, gents. Thank you to all the swimmers. Thanks for all the officials that have helped this year, all the volunteers, all of the parents and families watching online as well. We've missed you. Do have a safe journey home.